In this section, we'll be talking about proportional reasoning. If you notice in grade 7 in the Common Core Standards, you're going to use proportional reasoning to solve real-world problems. Proportional reasoning is a very important concept in K-8 because it provides a lot of foundational ideas for middle school topics. But before we can talk about proportions, we have to talk about a ratio. A ratio is really a fraction. It can be written A over B. It can be written A dot dot B, colon B, or A to B. But what exactly is a ratio? It's a comparison between two quantities, which we often compare two quantities. So they're going to use proportions quite a bit and ratios quite a bit. So first, let's look at a few examples. Let's compare a part to a whole. So we'll determine the ratio of vowels to letters in the word Mississippi. So that will be vowels divided by letters. So first we need to count. How many vowels do we have? We've got 4 vowels and we have 11 letters. So we're going to write that as 4 over 11. You could also write it 4 colon 11 or 4 to 11. So that was a part. That's the vowels, and then the whole would be all the letters. Now let's do a whole to a part. So this time we'll determine the ratio of the letters over the consonants. So again, we had 11 letters. Let's count how many consonants we have. So it looks like we have about 7 consonants. So it would be 11 over 7. Or you could write it 11 colon 7 or 11 to 7. And finally, part to part. So now we'll determine the ratio of vowels to consonants. So remember that the vowels would go on top and then the consonants. We had 4 vowels and 7 consonants. Of course, you could write that 2 other ways. Now let's use ratios, and this kind of example will help students understand what a ratio really is. So we're making punch for a birthday party. So the recipe calls for 2 containers of apple juice for every 3 containers of ginger ale. But we aren't just having a little party. We've invited the whole neighborhood. So we need to make up several batches of punch. We're going to go ahead and make them up ahead of time and keep them in the fridge so that when I'm busy socializing, then I can just pull them out of the fridge and serve it. So we want to make sure that the taste stays the same. So we want our apple juice to ginger ale ratio to always be consistent. 2 apple juice to 3 ginger ales. So if I wanted to make 2 batches, that would be 4 apple juice to 6 ginger ales. Or if I make 3, notice I would multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 3. So that would give me 6 apple juice and 9 ginger ale. Or it's a really big party. So I might need 8 apple juices to 12 ginger ales. Now what would happen if I put more ginger ale in there than I'm supposed to? Let's say I did 8 apple juice and 8 ginger ale instead of 12. It's going to taste different, right? It'll be less apple juicy and more ginger ale-y. So to make sure that the punch stays equally delicious with every bite, we've got to make sure that the mixture remains proportional no matter how many batches we make. So our 2/3, notice if we just multiply, we could get 4/6, 6/9, or 8/12.